Hello and good evening to everyone. Welcome to Pitch Points in collaboration with Afrobeat Live Fan Zone. And we're here today to talk about, really just review the Champions League games that we watched yesterday and today. And with me, I have all the way from Liverpool, England, I have the lone toffee, Kyle Blundell. How are you, mate?
I'm great, mate. The nerves are just, the nerves and the excitement's just starting to go down after that game. That was a phenomenal game of football, wasn't it, mate?
It was indeed. It was an amazing game of football. Sorry, I have to close the blinds because there's a truck outside making all the noise. Yeah. It was a phenomenal game of football. I think all the games, over the past 2 days have been phenomenal. I talk about this all the time. I look at the quarterfinal games of the Champions League are the most difficult phases of the Champions League because it's all, especially the first legs, which is why I was a little surprised that City fans were going off yesterday saying that it wasn't good, what performance wasn't good. If you think about it, this is the Champions League quarterfinal first leg. It's such a cagey occasion. Teams are trying to figure each other out very quickly, and one mistake and you're out, right? It's always very difficult. But we'll talk about the 4 games. Let's start with today. Let's talk about the Porto-Chelsea game. Porto had 2 of the best players missing. Hi, Charlie. How are you? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Porto had 2 of the players missing, but overall, were you surprised with the result?
Not really. I said it yesterday, didn't I? It would have to be a bit of a mess up for Tuchel and a bit of a confidence loss from the game against West Brom for Chelsea. I wasn't really surprised, but I thought, to be honest, Porto played very well.
They did.
I think they lacked that clinical edge up front, but unfortunately for I don't want to say lower teams, but these teams that don't come from the top 5 leagues or on a world-class side, that's the problem. You've got to have a world-class finisher, don't you? And I think Chelsea were just a bit more clinical, and that's probably what got Chelsea through. But yeah, it was a good game of football, and Porto proved, they basically went with the same game plan they did against City. Yeah, very physical, very physical.
Yeah. Clearly they were missing the best player, Oliveira, who scores all their goals. I think he scored, 10 or 12 goals in the competition so far, or something like that. He's been really, really good. 8 goals, I think, in the competition so far. He's been really good. So he was missing, and they had another player missing. So I wasn't surprised, and it was just mistakes that Porto made. But the reality is, frankly, they really shouldn't be. Everybody deserves to be where they are, but if Juventus had done their homework, there's no way Porto should have been in this competition. So it doesn't surprise me. I don't think anybody really paid much attention to that game. I did think Porto had a lot of chances. If they had to finish it, like you said, they'll probably, either draw that game or win it. But it is what it is. Anything else on the Porto-Chelsea game that you saw?
I saw the miss from Havertz. That was funny. But they really need to get a striker. Who Chelsea certainly need a striker that's like a Lukaku or a Haaland, because that's one of the main things stopping them at the moment. Because for me, Timo Werner just isn't good enough. Like he works hard and he does work hard, but his shooting is just horrendous. As well, and Havertz I thought wasn't that good. I thought Mount, for me, I say it, Mount's the only one for me when they talk about like Saka and all that. I think Mount just is close to Foden and Saka. I think he's brilliant, and I think he's so disrespected by Chelsea fans and just fans in general.
I think he's overrated. I really do. I just think that I don't know why. I just feel that he's overrated. Maybe I have to see more of him. Mm-hmm. When I think about him, would he get into City side? Would he get into Liverpool side? Would he get into even a United side? He probably wouldn't.
But I think the problem with that is you've got to look at it in the fact that how many players would actually get into that Man City side? There's not many in world football right now that would get into it, and I think Liverpool as well.
That's fair.
He doesn't really suit Liverpool's system because he's not really good as a striker. He's played as a centre forward, but he's not that good up there. He's not as good as Salah or Mane. He's, let's be honest, he doesn't play in the kind of midfield role that they play. But I think he gets into United's team over Mason Greenwood or Martial, to be honest.
I would take Greenwood every day over him. Greenwood's a finisher.
I think Greenwood's better when he's not a striker. I think when he's on the wing, I think you're taking all of his qualities away from him, I think, because I think he becomes a lot more predictable when he's on the wing.
Yeah, Mason Greenwood he's a killer in the box. He has an eye.
I would brilliant.
I would take him over some of our players, frankly. But But that's it. So Chelsea 2, Porto 0. It's an uphill task for them second leg, but I will never rule them out, Porto, because they're going to get the best players back. There may be a window of opportunity, but it'd be difficult for them to get anything. But no surprise anyway. Let's talk about the other game today, which 99% of the world watched, the Bayern Munich PSG game. I called this game, right? Everybody else thought Bayern was going to win this game. I called.
I said PSG was going to win.
Yeah, you and I said PSG were going to win this game.
Yep.
And when you said that yesterday, what was your rationale? What was your thought process in predicting that PSG was going to win the game?
One of the main reasons was because the fact Bayern do play a high line and they haven't got a lot of pace. When everyone's fully fit, you know, because Alphonso Davies came on but he's been injured this season. But when they haven't played that, when they've played that high line, a lot of the times in the Bundesliga, they've struggled because they haven't got the pace. And we said it. We've said for 2-3 weeks now, haven't we? If Mbappe gets on Nicolas Soulé, he'll torture Nicolas Soulé.
Yeah, we said it so many times.
And yes, he didn't play right back, but Nicolas Soulé, Mbappe, if you noticed, he didn't even go down the wings that much. He purposely went through the middle, and that was such a clever decision because Poch knew that no matter how hard Soulé tries, he wasn't keeping up with Mbappe. We kept seeing it. Mbappe would boot the ball forward and just sprint. And yeah, I think it was just a poor. I thought it was a phenomenal game of football. Don't get me wrong, but you could see Bayern and missing Lewandowski.
Yeah, I thought they were. I mean, I knew that PSG were going to win this game. I just felt that with Neymar, the pace, the power, the transition, the control, and Mbappe in behind, I just felt as long as this guy didn't start, your former striker didn't start. What's his name? The kid,
Moise Kean.
Moise Kean. As long as he didn't start, I thought PSG were going to win the game. If they had Di Maria, Neymar, Mbappe, as a front 2/3, I felt that PSG were going to win that game based on the counter attack. Because I don't think that Bayern Munich can deal with that pacing behind, and it was clear. First, 15, 20 minutes, 2 goals down. And then something happened to PSG. They just kind of freaked out. They just started to defend deep, mistakes, left, right, and center. Just really no control, no pattern. Just, really weird. And then they conceded 2 goals. And then, again, Mbappe steps up and scores a 3rd goal, which potentially could kill the tie if they don't bottle it in the second leg like they did against Barcelona years ago, right?
I think it's a different mentality. And I think PSG, and I say this all the time, we have to stop being disrespectful to Neymar. The amount of hate Neymar gets is on a different level because he's injury prone and because there is memes about him being a diver. But how many players would go to that Bayern Munich side and do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they had a few. Well, maybe that's some of their best defenders on the bench or injured, but he made world-class defenders today look like bottom of the Premier League or bottom of the Bundesliga or bottom of the Liga. He absolutely tore them apart. And Mbappe, and Carl, when it comes to Mbappe, Haaland, I've always said to you, Mbappe's the best one.
I 100% agree with you, Carl. It's not even a question for me. It's not even a thought in my mind. Because Mbappe can play 4 positions. Mbappe is faster. He's better on the ball. He's better off the ball. He's won everything apart from the Champions League. He's won the World Cup. He's won the Premier League. He's won everything he could possibly win. He's won. He has more charisma. He's better in front of the cameras. He's more mature. It's not in the question. I think there's a sentiment that a lot of fans in the club that I love have around Haaland because he's a kid. He wore blue shirt when he was in Manchester. His father played for Man City. I get that. But if you have the opportunity between both players at this age for our club, it's not even close. It's
I think another thing is, I think, me and you get this a lot because we say that I think any player in the world, any fan should rather have Mbappe. For me, I think Mbappe is the best young player in the world. And for me, I don't even like classing him as that anymore because I think he's matured into the top 5 best players in the world. And I know that's very controversial, but I don't really see many players that would be able to.
I don't think it's controversial. I don't think so. If you look at it this way, if you picture the next 4 or 5 years when Messi and Ronaldo finally fade away, who is going to be challenging for the Ballon d'Or if they go to a club like PSG or Man City or Real Madrid, Barcelona? It's got to be Mbappe. He's going to be in the mix. It's clear.
You look at it in the sense of how many players would go to Barcelona, score a hat-trick at the Camp Nou, then scored again against Barcelona. This is just in the knockout stage. He has 6 goals in the knockout stage against Barcelona and Bayern Munich. They're two of the world's biggest teams, and he dominated them. And let's be real, he could, if one of the balls were better from one of his fullbacks, he would have been on a hat-trick, because the ball from, I think it was Bakar, to him, or from Neymar, he wasn't that good, and he couldn't get a full-on angle onto the shot. But he was brilliant tonight, and he's just, I think with Haaland, I compare him to Ibra. He's great. He is good on the ball, but he's not jaw dropping. Do you know what I mean? Like Ronaldo. Ronaldo's, for me, one of the greatest players I've ever seen, but he's not like Messi. Messi drops your jaw every time you see him play. And for me, Mbappe is the only one who is close to Messi with a jaw drop. Nobody shocks me as much as Messi. Yeah, I mean, and Mbappe's doing that.
I was debating with another mate, City fan online. I'm like, I mean, if we strip away the sentiment, right, and look at the cold, hard facts of who's a better player, who would fit in our system more, it's not even a question. Guardiola traditionally doesn't really like to play that number 9, big striker up front. That's why he got rid of Ibra, got rid of Eto'o, got rid of a few people within Barcelona. His Barcelona team, the best team ever to play the game, didn't have a number 9. They had Messi as a false 9, right? Dropping into the number 9 spot and going from the right side. Mbappe is that kind of player for me. He can play across the front line, and he can do anything with the ball and off the ball. Now, his pressing is a little suspect. He doesn't press as much, but that's something he can learn. So for me, I mean, PSG today, I wasn't surprised. You and I called it spot on that they were going to win this game. Now, the second leg is another issue. What is Poch going to do? I think he has a capability to at least score at least one goal against Bayern Munich and win that second leg and get to the semifinal. So, so again, I wasn't surprised with the score. And we all our predictions, I think you and I, we got it spot on this week. I mean, talking about the other game yesterday, Carl, Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Were you surprised?
Well, I switched my predictions, didn't I? Because Varane was out and Ramos was out. And look, I don't think I was in the wrong for doing that, because I think you look at it on paper and you think let's be real, they're probably the best centre-back partnership. And other than probably on form this season, and John Stones, Diaz, let's be honest, there's not many centre-back partners better than them two, are they? Because they've done it consistently for the last 4 or 5 years as well. Yep. So I think when they went there, I was like, oh, sure, Mane, Salah, they had just got maybe, they just beat Arsenal, and you think, though, also in the Champions League, they've been getting, decent results. But again, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I say this, I've always said it, going forward, he is the best right back, I think, in the Premier League. But going back, he's the worst he's the worst player in the Premier League going back. He can't defend. And the way Real Madrid it was so beautiful, because I've said this to you, Carl, a few times. Real Madrid did the exact same thing Manchester City did 2 years ago, purposely got Sane just to run at Trent. Not even do anything with the ball that much, just run at him. And that's what they kept doing with Asensio. They kept just telling Asensio and Vinicius Jr. to run at Trent. And you could see Trent he didn't know what to do.
Yeah, they overload the left side of the field. That's what they did with Vinicius and I think it was Asensio. Just overload the left side. And so this guy was confused. And then you had Kroos pinging balls from 40 yards back into that space. That pass that Kroos made was just world class and world class. Yeah,
it's coming to that stage, I think, for Klopp now where it's gonna really test the mentality of Klopp and of Liverpool, because we've seen them come back, and as much as I hate Liverpool, we've seen them come back against Barcelona in a phenomenal comeback.
Yeah, but
they're the kings of doing it, of coming back. But the problem is they're not playing against the team or a manager that lets lead slip. This is the best manager for winning that. He's won it 3 years. He's been in the competition, I think, 5 times, isn't it? Won it 3.
Yeah, I mean, this is not Barcelona under what's his name, the former manager. This is Real Madrid Zidane. I said it in our prediction, in our analysis that Real Madrid were going to win this game and win it comfortably, and it happened, right? Because there's no evidence to me. I mean, you can't Kabak and what's his name, Matt Phillips, whatever his name is, playing centre back for Liverpool against Real Madrid. Do you really think Liverpool are going to win that game? Hell no, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Liverpool have given me no evidence this year that they're able to win the competition, in my opinion.
I think the big
even if they get through to even if they get through Real Madrid in the next leg, I don't even if it get to the final, they're not going to win the competition. Not with those two centre backs.
no way. And I think as well, I think a lot of people have been letting Alisson off so much. And what annoys me is Pickford, for us, I know it's different levels, but Jordan Pickford makes so many mistakes, yeah. But if that was Pickford that done that, Sky Sports, BT, imagine the hate Pickford would be getting. He's not good enough for the England team. Pickford has come out and said openly that he suffered from things like depression and anxiety because of the way people talk about him. I've criticised him a lot, and I don't think he's good enough for my club. But I'm not going to sit here and go further than that. But the way the media go on saying he's the worst keeper in the league and he's this and he's that, but come on, why? Where's the level of consistency for me? Even Ederson, when Ederson made that mistake against Leon, they were all saying that's why Alisson's number one and that's why Alisson's the better keeper. Alisson's cost Liverpool, City, Everton, Everton.
The reality is anybody who says Alisson's better than Ederson this year is full of crap. And frankly,
any year really.
I mean, last year I would say yes, he had a better year, but the reality is that if you watch Alisson at Roma, he was total shite, frankly. So I'm not even giving that even any credence at all. It's a usual media nonsense.
I hate the media, to be honest.
This season. Well, let's talk about the final game, the City versus Dortmund. I wasn't surprised at the performance. I thought that City were trying to figure out what Dortmund were trying to do. I thought that Foden was fantastic. Kevin De Bruyne is perhaps the best player in the world right now in terms of the way he plays. I don't think anybody is as good as him at this point in time. And it was a good 2-1 win at home. It was a difficult game. What did you think?
Do you know what? I think it's a great result in the sense of it's shown the mentality and the hunger for City to go out there and get the result. But I think that's not in the other team. I think it's a tough one because you've got to go away to Dortmund, and Dortmund, if they don't, it's going to be a tough one for City. But I think, to be honest, I think that performance was a lot like last season. In a lot of last season games for City, I think there was too many passes, too it wasn't. There was no simplicity like most of the games this year. I don't think you played terrible. I don't think you played the best you played all season. But the best thing for City fans, and if you're a City fan, which you are, Carl, take away anything from this game is you won and you didn't play to the way you've been playing the last 10, 15 games, and that's the best way of winning. That's the best way of winning because I think. You can, let's be honest, you won the league by 20 points or whatever it was, 19 points in 2017-18. But no one ever talks about that season. They talk about the season after when you lost 4 games compared to 2. Because that you lost and you still won the league because you had that fight, that desire to still go on and still compete and still win. Yeah. And I think that's what it was last night. And I just want to touch, I said this to someone, Julian Brandt reminds me so much of Draxler. He reminds me that he's going the same way that Draxler went. Where he's a phenomenal footballer, but I think he went to the wrong team. He went to a big team, and I don't think he should have went to a big team. I think he should have went to a team maybe like Arsenal or Tottenham.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I think Dortmund.
I think the game yesterday was about. I thought about overnight. I thought the game was about control. Okay, let's try to control. Like, let's not rush and make mistakes and get beat 2-3-0 at home, and then have to struggle in the second leg. It was about let's control this first leg. Make sure we don't make any mistakes. And that led to nerves because it's the first quarterfinal leg, and fortunately for Foden, and we had chances to score, right? The quarterfinal first leg is always difficult against a team, especially a team you're playing for the first time, right? Foden needed to convert his chances. We need to cut our nerves. And I really expect us to be better on the second leg. Even the refs were nervy, right, throughout the whole game. So
yeah,
it's a good result. It's a good result against a difficult team. But I predicted that we win the game, and hopefully next week, because I think we're actually better away than we are at home over the past couple of games. If you think about the games we play, we actually played better away than we have at home. So we'll see. Liverpool away, Chelsea away, and you lot, down the road away, Leicester away. Even United away. We've actually played better away than we have at home.
Yeah, I think something that I think a lot of Dortmund fans will be probably bad for is Sancho could have probably caused a lot of more problems because Sancho's brilliant. A lot of people don't rate Sancho, but when Sancho's on his form and it's Sancho's day, he's one of the worst players to deal with because he's so good with the ball, and him and Haaland work well off each other. I don't know what it is, but I think.
Go ahead, sorry.
I think Ruben Dias, yes, he got floored by Haaland, but the way he read that game was so well, because he knew, all right, he told his other defenders, mark the rest of the players, do not let me deal with Haaland. Yeah, and Haaland might have bodied him a few times, but that proves the way Diaz reads the game is he knows that no one else can match his physicality. Walker might match his pace, Cancelo might match his pace, but the only person that might be able to match his physicality is him.
Yeah. I have a theory about Sancho. I think he's completely overrated, totally overrated. I've watched all his games against the big teams, Bayern Munich, even Tottenham in the Champions League, big games, PSG. He just disappears. He completely disappears. For England, when he plays the little teams, the Werder Bremen, the Eintracht Frankfurt, the smaller teams in the Bundesliga, he shines. But against a big team, when it's time to show up, disappears. Completely disappears.
To be fair, when he played Frankfurt early on in the season, he got back-pocketed by Kostic.
He always, when he played Tottenham against the Champions League 2 years ago at home in I think in Wembley, he got battered. He was just terrible. So for me, a lot of English players are blown up by the media. Now, Jude Bellingham is good. I saw him. I liked what I saw. But a lot of English players are really just blown up, and they need to just kind of calm down and take it easy and let these players kind of grow. Which is what Guardiola was saying about Foden. Look, let this kid grow. He's not yet there yet. He's good, right? But he can't play David Silva's spot right now because he doesn't have the maturity to play that in that spot. He can play out on the wing and just improve his finishing. So we need to be really careful about how we hype these English players up, and then when they don't perform, we're all kind of disappointed.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because I think that was the problem for Rooney. Rooney, as good as Rooney was, I think there was so much on him at such a young age because he broke through at 16, 17, and there was such a reputation on him. And Sterling had it, to be fair, for a few years. Sterling had a reputation that shouldn't have been put on him. But I think because England have failed in European competitions, when it comes to the World Cup, the Euros, we fail so much. But I think when you get that star or that player that the world's looking at, and the world are looking at Sancho, the world looks at Sterling, the world looks at players like, maybe not Bellingham, but players like Harry Kane, and you stop and think, these players are superstars when the world-class players, but maybe not on the level of an Mbappe. But I think you get carried away when you from your country and they are stars and they are playing and beating teams. But I think it's got to be perspective, and as good as Sancho is, I think him and Haaland work so well together. But for me, I think the problem is the problem for Sancho is, the question this season for me is his head in it this season? Because we know how close that move was to Manchester United. Is his head still there? And his stats, it's 21 games, 17 goal contributions.
It's part of growing up, right? That's part of the growth process. That's why I respect players who put their head down and work, right? James Rodriguez puts his head down and works. Phil Foden, with all the hype around him, he puts his head down and works. Kevin De Bruyne sticks his head down and works. There's no hype. There's no agent distraction. Kevin De Bruyne signed a contract without an agent. So, again, for me, yes, he's okay, but for me, he's overrated. I think Mount. People need to be patient with him. I still think he's, against the bigger teams, we need to show it to me. I haven't seen anything that convinces me that he's at that level yet. But maybe I'm wearing blue tinted glasses. I don't know. But anything else you want to talk about, mate? We're about to wrap up.
Yeah, I just want to, I know it's your channel, but I just wonder if it's all right if I can say a little tweet I put up. It's not that long, don't worry. Just a tweet about Everton, because a lot of people have been jumping on.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
And even though I criticised them, but I didn't criticise, and we're saying he's not good enough, because I think he's one of the best strikers in the league. It's about Calvert-Lewin, and I put the disrespect our fan base has given Carlo Ancelotti and DCL over the last few days is absolutely disgusting. According to some Everton fans, DCL is not good enough and not a top striker. Yet he's on more goals than Heung-min Son, Aubameyang, Gabriel Jesus, Jamie Vardy. He's not even 25. Please just back that. And then I went on to say, also, everyone says Romelu Lukaku doesn't miss those chances. But I remember him going 7-8 games without scoring. Please just back the lad, because when he goes, we'll be crying and calling him a rat, a snake, saying he doesn't love the club, when really, no, he just wants to be appreciated. He's young, he's still learning, just back the process. Problem is as Everton fans, we moan when players leave us, but again, this is going to be one. If we don't want him at the club and then he left next season, he's going to be the classic case of you didn't know what you had until it's gone.
Oh, he's a good player. I mean, again, fans have to be aware of what does he have around him to give him the supply, right? Exactly. So he played for England, scored 2 goals, good goals. If he was at Tottenham, he probably scored more goals. If he was at City, he scored more goals. If he was at United or Chelsea, he probably scored more goals. So chill out and just let the guy just grow and let the team just grow. I mean, what do you guys expect to be, first or second at this point in time with the players that you have? It takes time to mold that team. So that's my opinion anyway. But anyway, Kyle, it's been good talking to you. I have to run. I have practice to run to. You think Arsenal are going to win tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Did they win the Europa League, you think?
I think they can, but I think if they play Villarreal, I think they get knocked out. Yeah. I think that's the only team that should bother them, because I think they beat United. Because I think Ollie can't handle big games, important games.
Any last words before we sign up?
Not just usual, stay safe in these times, and thanks for having me on again, Carl. It's always a pleasure, and we basically do a bit of it, at least once or twice every week. So and also well done to Mbappe for proving his quality and that he actually is one of the best players in the world. And well done, and thanks for having me on, mate.
Absolutely, and thanks everyone for watching, for joining, for listening. This is Pitch Points with Afrobeat Live Fan Zone, talking about the review of the Champions League match days, Tuesday and Wednesday. And we'll see you in about a week's time after the second legs. Hopefully, City get through, and all the other teams that we picked to get through. Till then, take care. God bless.